Buddy. No good mornings for you. This is a late show for you. Well, welcome to Breton. Not Breton. I'm from Breton. Welcome to Brazeau County. We're now at just north of Drayton Valley. Over my shoulder is Drayton Valley. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a walk and head this way to try and see. I'm pretty sure the audio may be okay. Maybe it's not working there. So if you guys can let me know if there's any audio problems, that'd be great. And if just give me a second, I'm gonna go behind the camera and show my guy where you can see the chats. Well, we don't know if we're live or if you have audio, so we'll have to check that out. Do you have your phone? Because we can check your phone on your phone. But right now we're half an hour early. The press conference is going to be outside. We have the press here. CBC's here. Other people are here from Edmonton to check out the conference. And just bear with us, guys. We are last minute trying to get this going. We're going to make sure that we have audio for you. We would hate for you to just stare at me all day and not see anything. I've seen the fire chief has pulled in. We requested access to some officials, so the mayor, Dobbs, and others. We don't have access to them today. If that changes, I'll let you know, but we can go ahead and do an interview. And what I'll do is now check if I can see us online, everybody. Thanks for bearing with us as we make this happen. Hey, everybody out there. Okay, it says live. And there we are. There's my mug. All right, we are live and there is audio.
Got sound?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And if you want, you can probably put the microphone into this one and listen to this one. If you put your microphone into your phone, well, then we can't hear. There we go. So now our sound guy can hear a bit. So we'll see how far this audio will be picked up. Well, this fire, guys, has been going on for over a week. Last week we had lots and lots of smoke that we can see from Breton, but we haven't seen any smoke or fire since then. I was speaking to one of the people here. There was smoke and fire about 3 days ago here in Drayton Valley, but now most of it is north of Drayton Valley by the Edson and Etwhistle area. We got a report that there was a traffic accident due to the amount of smoke, a minor collision with some truck drivers. So up north from us, and I'll turn here, and you still can't see any smoke either. But north of here is where Edson and Etwhistle is. And we're not seeing any of that big black smoke. Our military is arriving here, so everybody's showing up. Looks like we have some soldiers in this first truck as well. And then we actually have a military vehicle in Alberta. So I know that this was something that we were wondering if it was going to happen, whether or not the military was going to show up. Well, here they are. And what we can try and do after the conference is see if anybody's willing to speak to us. But right now we haven't got confirmation that we can speak with anybody particular. But you know, we're guerrilla journalists, we're on the ground, so we'll just go ahead and ask and talk to people as we meet them. But we've been getting lots of reports that there's a lot of smoke headed to Ontario. But as you can see, Drayton Valley is not that source right now. There's nothing south of us, and further south is where the Brazeau Dam is, and that's where another fire is. So southwest of Drayton Valley, and then southeast of Drayton Valley was the Buck Creek fire. And that's the one that we're familiar with because that's just west of us. And we'll let them set up. So we got military police here. That's who this gentleman would be over here with the red hat. And if anybody in the chat knows what the red hat means, go ahead and put it into the comments. And we'll see who understands what the red one means. They are different colors of the berets. So see who knows what the red one means. And what I'm going to do is I'll quickly show you my little camera guy. I was trying, and his name is Ray. And he's actually an evacuee from Drayton Valley. So he's here. Oh, I think I moved it. There we go. So he's staying with us, and he's the reason why we don't have our studio yet, but we'll have that this weekend. But today he's helping us capture everything and make sure that we can get a good shot and get some good audio and get the information to you guys. So I did speak with the coordinator about getting access to Drayton Valley itself to drive around. That request was denied at this time. I'm going to continue speaking with some officials and people that we have contact with to see if maybe we can get an escorted access to the evacuation area. There's a lot of information out there about what's actually happening. Did we lose any buildings in Drayton Valley? How far is the fire? Are the cannons doing their job, et cetera, et cetera. So it would be great if we could go in there and kind of see what's going on. Drayton Valley is not a very large place, but we'd like to know if we've lost any of the buildings, especially in the southeast or the south part of the building of the town where the industrial areas are. We have some word that there are some people able to get in for work purposes. It looks like they have designated some people as potentially essential to the business of Drayton Valley, so they do have access to it. I do expect to ask some questions about how they're going to support businesses and employees who are no longer getting wages or running their shops while Drayton is closed. Originally, it was a 3-day evacuation. However, it's extended well past that now. We're on to week 2, and we understand that that is at least going to be another 7 days. So for people who were waitresses and workers inside of Drayton Valley who are no longer able to do that job, I'm very curious on what the government has in mind to assist with those people. And in addition to the people directly impacted by in Drayton Valley South, the communities around Drayton Valley, like Breton, Rocky Mountain, Rocky Rapids, etc., we've gotten an influx of people. So our shops weren't prepared and they didn't have all the supplies. So we're running out of things like toothbrushes and potato chips and stuff like that. The shelves are pretty empty on those items, some of the essentials that people need. So I'm curious if there's any assistance on making sure the supplies are being brought in, and if we can make sure that these shelves stay stocked as people are now moving to the outside communities in order to maintain their life. We are definitely going to be at the beginning of a major heat wave. So one of the problems that I'm sure we're going to hear about today at today's conference is this heat bubble. So you'll hear about this heat bubble that's coming over Alberta. It's looking like a good strong 5 days of nothing but sun, heat, and no water. So I'm sure we'll hear today how they're preparing for that, both on the wildfire front, on how that's going to impact the fire and whether or not it spreads, and also on the frontline personnel. It's going to get very hot for them. They're used to being on a front line as hot. However, this is going to be an extreme weather situation. And I'm curious on how they're going to help and take care of the people that are going to be working the front line. Heat exhaustion is a very important concern. We want to make sure that nobody's getting injured as they're doing their job. So I plan to ask about that. And I'm also curious what the federal response has been. So as we're all familiar with, we had this trucker convoy in Ottawa, and the businesses there complained that they were shut down and couldn't operate. So there's millions of dollars passed to the residents and businesses of Ottawa and Windsor to support the shutdown and lockdown, or whatever you want to call it, of their cities. Well, we're under something very similar here in Drayton and Edson and Entwistle, Red Deer. There's a lot of places around here that are being shut down now too. So I'm curious if the federal government will be as responsive and as quick to make sure that the people of Alberta are being taken care of as well. So far, we know that the federal government is supplying some of the military. They brought them in, and we're going to hear today about what their goals are today and what they're here for. However, we haven't heard much about other federally sponsored programs or assistance. You might hear some more today. Alberta has definitely stepped up now that we're in a state of emergency. They started to hand out, I believe it's $1,250 per adult and $500 per child in order to help sustain them while they were evacuated. But I'm curious what the federal government has in line for the businesses and anybody else that's not necessarily from Drayton Valley that was impacted. Because the impact of this will definitely be the entire community. So far, that's basically the gist of the information we have right now. No elected official will be here. I've asked if we can speak with Gerald Sikora. No word back on that one. We've asked for Mayor Dobbs. I'm sure she's quite busy, but we'll do our best to try and maybe get a remote interview with her. And we've reached out for the CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, CAO. And we also asked for the Reeve. I can't remember his name at this moment. And our counselor, so Dallas Ekstrom. We've asked to speak with any elected official. Right now, that request has been, we'll say, postponed until we get some more information, but we won't have access to any of these people today. We haven't heard much out of Gerald. about the situation and how the federal government's stepping up and assisting. Um, that could be because maybe they're leaving it on a provincial level, but you know, the federal government is there to assist us in any way they can, and I'd like to understand in what way they do plan on doing that. And we can see that the media is showing up here. There's quite a few cameras showing up, and we got quite the crew showing up. So we expect to have a decent conference. Now, I don't know if you can notice on your phone, I'll see the chat window, what you can do. Oh, look that, Prairie. Oh, look at this. Okay, everybody. So now I can see the chat. Prairie, thank you so much for coming back. I haven't seen you for a long time. Back in November, I think was the last time we chatted. Charlie, welcome back. How's Ottawa doing? Caprol's going portable. Yep. No, here we are. It's here. We're going live. Adam, nice to see you. Welcome. Hey, Prairie says, oh no, I hope everything's okay with you. And Prairie's waving to Adam. Hey, Adam. Hey, Bev, nice to see you too. So I can't chat back, so I'll chat back to you here. So feel free to keep the chats going. I see that there's 5 of you here already. You came in early, so that's wonderful. But it's great to see that Prairie came back. Adam's there. Mr. Green Thumbs, how you doing, buddy? How's Ottawa? Are you holding down the fort? Are you making sure that people are still aware that the government is suppressing their rights, especially when it comes to access to Parliament Hill? I hope you're staying on top of that one, my friend. And Adam, I hope you're doing all right, buddy. Down in Calgary, I believe you are. You're in the South End. Oh, hey, James, nice to see you, bud. Welcome back. Look, so many of you. I'm Charlie, by the way. So Bev CB is Charlie as well. Okay. Oh, yes, I am. So you are holding down the fort there, Mr. Green Thumbs. Thank you so much for doing that. And hope to see you again soon, bud. I had a nice evening with you. But let me know what you guys want to hear. And before we get this conference going in about 20 minutes, I'm here to answer some questions. But as you can see, there's no special effects on our side. There's no smoke. We've got no smoke. And we are in Drayton Valley right now. And just beyond there is the downtown. And just beyond that is where the fire is supposed to be. And then when we go look north again, we have the Etwistle Edson area. And we've got nothing on the horizon here. The entire drive-in, we didn't see anything. But of course, that doesn't mean there's no fire. It just means that there's no visible smoke at this point. So this particular conference, we should be getting a good update on where the fire is has it moved underground? Is it deep underground? Is it popping up all over the place? As of this moment, we've been told it's still out of control. So hopefully we're getting an update on whether or not they're getting some control of it. But at this point, it's not. Cold Lake. So yeah, Cold Lake, Charlie, is where a large fire is. So that's just north of us. So Cold Lake would be this way. And that's up in the Etwistle Edson area. That entire area is in trouble. Azario, hey buddy, thanks for coming. I'm glad you can make it as well. Stay in the chat. And Azario, I believe you still have moderator access. So if there's any information that needs to be addressed, you can take care of that for me. Good to see folks. Mr. Green Thumbs, I'm going to the Hill in a few minutes, and it will take me 30 minutes after to go live too. Great, Mr. Green Thumbs. So go live. Let's get your voice out there. I understand the stunt dummy is starting to do the same thing. He's going to be doing a live show as well. So it's great to see that there's a lot more voices across Canada on our side who's going to be speaking up and getting some more information out. And the best way to do it is just go there, become a witness, go to the events. You can watch it. This is a free country for the most part, so we can still go to events and see what's going on. It looks like they have a little area over there that they're going to be setting up on. So at some point we'll mosey on over there. And if you guys are up for it, I might ask any if the military wants to speak. So let me see if I'll be bold enough to see if we can get one of them. Because we're kind of hanging out over here. They seem to be friendly. Little gentlemen, we're streaming live. Can I come see you? Or should we point away? Yeah, I can see you. Great. We're independent journalists on YouTube, Rumble, all that kind of stuff. Nice to meet you, Jason, again. And your name is?
I'm Major Tyler Yee.
Major Tyler Yee. You got us in there?
Officer commanding 1 Field Squadron, 1 Combat Engineer Regiment, based out of Edmonton.
Okay, you got some good audio? Edmonton. So where are you located other than Edmonton? So you're stationed in Edmonton, but where are you from?
So I'm from Vancouver, personally.
Okay.
Yeah, and then members of our unit from all over the country.
Wonderful. And what brings you here today, other than being asked? Can you let us know what you're here for today?
Well, we're here to support Alberta Wildfire. The province of Alberta asked the federal government to come and support them.
Yeah.
The federal government approved that on Wednesday, which is when we showed up here in Drayton Valley.
Minister Bill Blair?
Yes, Mr. Spokespeople.
Yep. And you guys here to fight the fire, or for security, or just for support? What is your major logistic operation?
So our task is to support wildfire firefighting in support of Alberta Wildfire.
Okay.
So whatever task and priority that they assign to us is what we'll do. Our troops are trained in basic firefighting skills.
Great.
So we're not professional firefighters or anything. And the way that we're working is we're pairing up our troops with an actual firefighter, and together they move as one package.
It's like a buddy system.
Yeah.
So you can work together.
Yeah, exactly.
And then with this heat coming, how are you preparing for that? We're gonna have a big heat bubble here right now.
So we don't really participate in the planning because we're here to support the actions on the ground. Plannings and stuff, those actually come from the firefighters themselves. So I can't really speak to what.
Fair enough. Are you prepared for heat exhaustion yourself? You got some water. You're gonna be making sure that you guys are staying safe.
Yes.
It's gonna get hot up there.
Yeah. So our troops are briefed every morning on kind of safety procedures and such. It's a standard thing that we do every day to make sure that troops go out with tons of water.
Yes.
They're going out with hydration packs. They carry 3 liters of water, and they're also bringing a bunch of 20-liter cans of water with them everywhere they go.
Wonderful. Yeah. How long are you expected to be here?
So we're going to be here as long as the province needs us.
So right now there's no end date.
Yeah, I can't give you an actual date because it's purely based on what the province requests through the federal government.
Right.
But from a CAF perspective, as long as the province needs this.
That's wonderful. And then, are you part of the security at all? So if there's any looting or anything going around, is that something that you guys might assist with, or are you just frontline firefighting?
Our task is the firefighting. It's really a law enforcement responsibility to deal with looters and actual criminals that will be active in the town. Because it's not our task, we have very specific things that we are allowed and not allowed to do. I think you can appreciate why the military should not be involved with law enforcement. So if anyone does see any kind of looting or anything to that effect, they should report it to the actual police.
Yeah, that would be some concern that a lot of residents do have, is the military getting involved in policing. And that's always a concern and a sensitive subject for everybody. But if needed be, you would be there for anybody who needs help. Hopefully not. It's a tough question, but
it's a law enforcement issue.
Yes.
Right? Like the military doesn't get involved in civilian law enforcement.
Are you, other than personnel and some equipment, are you bringing any other equipment? Like any fire truck equipment or anything like that?
Right. So my unit doesn't have fire trucks. It's not our primary responsibility. Luckily, we are the combat engineers, so we have heavy equipment on standby if the province requests.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then where are you staying? You don't have to tell us the exact address, but you're staying in town or just out of town?
We're staying in town. Yeah. No, we're based out of the community omniplex.
Wonderful.
And it's great.
Enjoy. I believe we just built that. There's a nice pool in there.
The facility is excellent.
And
we're very happy to the town for allowing us to stay there.
Taking good care of you?
Yeah.
So when you're in town, are you finding that nobody's there, the streets are completely empty and it's just you guys, or are there some residents and some businesses still hanging around?
From what we've seen, the town is empty. Yeah. The traffic we've seen is purely firefighter based. I'm not really in a position to know what the town actually looks like, but from what we've seen, it's
pretty empty. And then when it comes to taking care of you guys, everything's happening at the Omniplex and you guys have everything you need? Or is there anything you'd like to ask our local officials or federal government for assistance on?
No, we come self-sufficient. That's why the military is usually called for things like this. We bring our own fuel and food, and we'll contract out our own services based on our needs.
Well, thank you very much for your time. You stay safe out there, and I hope to catch you on the end of this, okay?
For sure. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you very much. Well, there you go, everybody. That's Canada. We got our military, and they're here to help. We know what they're here for. So that's wonderful that we have them helping our firefighters and taking care of working with Alberta Wildfire. We have another officer over here. We'll see if we can find out what that red beret means and have a little chat with him. And if you'd like, I can chat with you after if you want. No, that's okay. That's okay. Hi. So Jason Levine, independent journalist on YouTube right now. Can I interview you?
I apologize if I like to speak to the media. Your soundbite person is going to be based over there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Can you tell me what the red beret means?
Military police.
Military police. There we go, everybody. We did get our answer anyways. We can interview him, but we found out it means military police. So he's going to make sure that, on the military side of police and everything's good. And now we can see that the scrum is getting set up for the pit for the press. How's our time? Okay, I'll see if there's any more chats and stuff.
20 after 1.
20 after 1. Okay, so we got 10 minutes. We're going to see some more people showing up here. I don't really want to interrupt them too much. All right, let's see where we are here. Oh, yes, that's right, Adam. Southern Manitoba. I knew it was one of the Southern Prairie ones, and it wasn't Saskatchewan. Sorry about that, bud. But it's good to see you back. Rosario, you're getting lots of love in the chat. I can see that. Cold Lake. Yeah, look at Mr. Green Thumbs. Nobody left. They're all here. If we have railroaded, then we'd be a full set if we had our whole team here. Hillbilly 77, welcome. That's a new name. I haven't seen you before. Yeah, it's our pleasure to go ahead and get this video out to you. We're trying to get you as much as behind the scenes, raw, uncensored, unfiltered, unedited, and it's also going to come off that way. We're doing our best to try and juggle everything off of my handy dandy little Samsung phone, but at least it gives you the raw, unedited, and complete view of what's going on here. Own fuel, is that legal, says Bev. Don't know, my friend. That's a question I can maybe follow up after, that they bring their own fuel. Thanks for coming to this. Great interview from Mr. Green Thumbs. Thank you, Mr. Green Thumbs. I like talking to people, and when people open up and give us their side of the story, we get a lot more information. Railroad is trying to get there. Wonderful. Thank you, Charlie, for staying in contact with Railroaded. She is still a moderator, so if she shows up, she'll be able to help out on that front as well. Jerry cans, Charlie. Yeah, maybe they have a bunch of jerry cans with their fuel. The ones they confiscated out of Ottawa, they might have been able to stock up with all those jerry cans. It's still a sensitive subject, everybody. We're going to get back onto that Ottawa thing and the Public Order Emergency Commission at some point in the near future. But so far, so good. All right, I caught up on the chats. What I don't want to do is get closer to the scrum and be audible and making a lot of noise. So when we get closer to that scrum and we get in there, I'm going to be off to the side and we'll be doing a lot of listening. I am prepared with some questions, and they did ask us to submit the questions ahead of time. And as a good, responsible journalist, I submitted all the questions I intended to ask. But if anything else comes up, I will not be afraid to ask it. And for those of you that are not aware, I'm just going to show you. We're flying the Alberta, the Canada, and the Ukraine flag here at Brazeau County. It is what it is, right? So we got about 8 minutes or so. So in about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to head over there and we're going to start getting ourselves set up and make sure that we get a good view. Now go ahead and put me in the chat if there's any particular questions you would like to hear, anything that you want to know. We hear about the smoke, we hear about the wildfires, but we don't see them. It looks like there's some equipment making its way over there right now, just driving by. Got some big Kubotas there, kids here. I don't know if that's for optics or what, but all right, let's see if there's any questions in the chat. This is working out nice with this whole chat. Railroaded, okay. They're very quiet while we're hunting ripples, okay. Yikes. Hey, Adam. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and put any questions in there and I'll do my best to get them for you. I'm not seeing any officials that I know, like the mayor or anything, so I was told that they wouldn't, she's not going to be here. But there's some officials that work here, the Reeve, the CAO, maybe even some counselors might be there, but right now we don't have access to them. Oh, we got a helicopter. Oh, there we go. They're dropping some water. So live action on the scene, folks. We have a helicopter with water headed south. So yeah, they quickly brought in a bunch of equipment to put in the background. So I suspect you might be seeing a lot of these shots. So there you go. There's a helicopter with some water to go drop it somewhere. I can tell you around Breton in our area, which is southeast of Drayton Valley, about 50 kilometers or so. Not much action at all. We're not having a lot of airplanes or helicopters flying overhead. We are west of Pigeon Lake, which would be a place where they can gather water if they were doing that. Then flying over us over to Drayton Valley, but we haven't seen any of that air traffic at all. But other than this one right now. But again, you can see there's a bunch of equipment that they're lined up all the way on this road here with the military police truck. So it looks like they're getting ready for the office. Our interviewee is getting in trouble or not from his beret guy because he did give us an interview. But well, it was good. We got some information. The military does not know how long they're going to be here. They're stationed in the town of Drayton Valley. The Omniplex is on the southern part of Drayton Valley, so they're not too worried about the fire there or so. But I guess they'd be ready to move quick if they had to. But it's good to know that Drayton's taking good care of all the volunteers and the military that come in. And of course, this is Alberta. We'll take care of anybody that comes to help us out. But I'm still curious on what the federal government's assistance has been. And so far, I haven't heard much other than supplying support with the military. But we'll certainly be waiting for those questions and see what they say during the press conference. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my questions and I'll probably let you know what I'm going to try and get out of them. So, yeah, we made a request for Mayor Dobbs, Mr. Edney, who's the CAO of Brazeau County, Mr. Guyon, who's the Reeve, he was elected recently as our Reeve, and then Mr. Ekstrom, Dallas Ekstrom, who is the counselor for my region, my area in Brazeau County. We're going to keep working on trying to get an interview with them. Our plan after this is to go to a checkpoint or two all the way back to the east to interview police officers or anybody that's there trying to get in to try and get some more information about what's going on, what people can expect. How do residents go in and get access to their property? Are they planning to do anything where they're letting a bunch of residents in to deal with the situation? But what we're looking for in this press conference, we definitely have some reports of arson, and we haven't been able to check if any of these particular fires that we're going to be covering here today are suspected of arson or if any charges have been laid. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that particular question and information. The families have been out for over a week now out of Drayton. They were told when they were leaving to be prepared for 3 days. As a consequence, you're going to have a bunch of fridges and a bunch of stuff that was left behind that starts to spoil, even if it's refrigerated. So the question is going to be, how are they going to address the health impact of the spoilage if this goes on for another week or two? We have a heat wave coming in, so if electricity or let's say a refrigerator's compressor malfunctions, that's going to turn into a biohazard. We saw that in New Orleans during the floods and the hurricane down there, that when hot air plus food, it can turn into a really bad situation. I'm sure they weren't planning that at the beginning, but now that we're about 10 days in and they're expecting at least another 7 days, according to a report last night, what are they doing about that? Are they going to let people go in and clean out the spoilage, or are they going to run the risk of having a biohazard when this is all opened back up? As we were speaking with the military guy right there, what to do with the extreme heat coming. So is everybody prepared on the front line to deal with the extreme heat? And then we also understand that some workers are being allowed into the evacuated area. We're presuming that these are deemed essential workers, but for the rest of the businesses and employees who can't get to work and they're not being allowed in, will there be any support in the future for that lost income and lost business revenue? Curious on how they're going to be tackling those economic losses for everybody. And at the same time, around Brazeau, there's communities all over that are taking in the evacuees, and they're going into our shops and doing a lot of shopping. So that's all expected, but it also is a bit of a drain on our infrastructure and our systems, and to see if we can handle that those supplies. So, for example, the toothbrushes and some of the staple foods, they're running low or they're gone. So I'm curious on whether or not they'll be shipping in a bunch of stuff or trying to make it easier for local businesses to keep their shelves stocked as we are supplying a lot more people than we're used to. As we all know, the military is here, so the federal government has provided that. But what other assistance have they done so far? Again, going back to the convoy, so Ottawa, Windsor, they were getting financial support pretty quickly because they were not working. They weren't able to open up their shops. So I'm curious if Alberta is going to be receiving a similar type of treatment. And then I want to know, where's Gerald Soroka? Are they in contact with him? Is he helping out? And if not, what assistance would they need from the federal government? Is there anything that they are looking for? We can reach out to his office, maybe pass on any of the requests that they're making. But as we can see, there's officials are now starting to make their way up. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get ourselves settled. And I'll be quiet during the entire conference, except for a question if I get a chance to ask it. So I'm guessing they'll be here. So a reminder to everybody, go ahead and get your questions in as you're watching the press conference. If you have any other questions that hasn't been brought up, throw it into the chat. I'll go check that. I'll try and keep an eye on it. We'll make sure that all your questions are answered during this press conference. It looks like we're about to get started. One of the advantages of being 6'3", I don't need to be in the front.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Thompson, and I'm Fire Chief for Drayton Valley, Brazeau County Fire Services. Before I begin my remarks, I'll just introduce a few people that are behind me today. First of all, I'd like to introduce Luke Palmer, who is our incident commander. Luke comes to us from Lethbridge, Alberta. He is part of the incident management team that has come up from Southern Alberta to assist us with this incident. I would also like to introduce Evan Stewart. Evan is from Clearwater County, and I consider Evan to be our Connor McDavid on this fire scene. He has a vast amount of knowledge and skill and expertise in wildland firefighting as well as structural firefighting, and we are very happy to have him with us on this team. As well, I'd like to introduce Major Tyler Yee from the Canadian Armed Forces, who has brought his troops up to assist us in this event. So as everybody knows, this has been a long haul, and our crews know that we are far from being over yet. I can't say enough about our local firefighting crews, all of those who have come from other agencies, fire departments, to give their time and experience to help us with this incident. It makes me proud to be an Albertan, to see all of these people who have come from all over the province to come and assist us. And I hope one day, once we are done all of this, that we will be able to help them if they are ever in crisis or in need. We have been working very hard to get everything in place to get this incident, this fire contained. The weather is going to test us over the next coming days. We know that we are actively taking steps to prepare for this weather change and make sure that that this incident does not get bigger than what it already is. This response doesn't happen without a huge support system. While all of you have been able to see the fire ground crews that are on the ground fighting the fire, I also want to take time to recognize all of those behind the scenes that are helping to bring this incident under control. The incident commander is leading a fantastic team and who are making it possible for crews to operate the way they need to. Many of those people have brought their experience from other major wildfire and disaster events, but there are also town and county employees, many of whom have also been evacuated from their homes that are playing a vital role in this incident. And with that, I will now turn it over to my experts behind me for their comments.
Afternoon. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. As much as our work is important, so is yours in terms of notifying the community of exactly what's going on here today. I'm Luke Palmer, the current incident commander for the Buck Creek Wildfire here located in Drayton Valley and affecting Brazeau County. These communities remain under a state of local emergency. This is to ensure both the safety of the residents that have been evacuated, as well as our responders that are in the site trying to make this site once again livable. The big question is, when can people return home? And I definitely sympathize with that. It is not ideal to be away from your home for such a long period of time and without having those timelines in place. What I can share is we are actively working on making sure that we can return that community to a status where people can return and resume their businesses and daily lives in a manner that meets human needs. This is critical for us to return people home. There are two problems that we're basically focusing on in terms of our incident management planning team efforts, and it's mainly focused on the people at this point. While the fire remains out of control, we have fire activities in place, which our operations section chief will speak on soon. But at the same time, concurrently in the background, we are focused on reentry planning at the core of people to get them back home. This isn't something that we're sitting and waiting on. Obviously, we're waiting to see what happens this weekend, which will dictate some of our next steps. But again, we need to make sure that we have access to essential services and at the same time that those are once again staffed up. This includes things like utilities, access to water, and a sustainable power grid that can support the return of many people who have been evacuated in both the town and the outlying county. Not only is it important to make sure that those services are back online, but they also need to be staffed. We need to recognize that the staff that operate in these areas, waste management and other city departments, have also been evacuated. Once they're able to return, there's going to be a little bit of a delay in terms of getting things back online, and that's part of the process. Again, when people are evacuated, it turns not only their lives upside down, but also the community as a whole. We want to make sure that this space, as people return, is in a spot that is sustainable for people to meet their human needs. I can't stress what Chief Thompson has mentioned in terms of our incident management team. It is my privilege to lead this group of effective individuals who have been working tirelessly for this community. I'm proud to be here. This is a great community full of great people who are committed to public service and doing what's right for their community. We're hoping to have more information soon in terms of timelines, but we're asking for more patience. And again, stressing that this community does remain under a state of local emergency and that coinciding evacuation order does remain in place. That area around that evacuation area does remain secure, and that's for the safety of the public, but also our first responders. Our responders here are tasked with activities that are mitigating and stabilizing the hazard that's currently impacting the area. And coinciding that, we have other crews, utility providers are here helping to restore those services. We're asking for some patience, but at the same time, affirming that we are also working on multiple planning areas at the same time. At this time, I'm going to pass things over to our operations section chief, Evan Stewart, who can speak to resources and fire management activities currently ongoing at the site in terms of the hazard.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Evan Stewart. I'm currently working as the Operations Sections Chief on the Buck Creek Wildfire. My role as the Operations Sections Chief is to support the men and women on the ground that are working ever diligently to stabilize and control this incident for the citizens of Drayton Valley and Brazeau County. I'm going to be succinct here for everybody today, but I will speak to three things. I'll speak to resources operating on the fire. I will speak to what type of tasks those resources are performing on the fire. I'm going to speak to the challenges and risks associated with the challenging weather ahead of us for this weekend. So starting off, currently right now in the Buck Creek Wildfire, we have 155 firefighters working to extinguish fire perimeter on all sides of the fire currently right now. We have 17 pieces of heavy equipment. That includes dozers, excavators, and skidders that are working to build fire guard around the perimeter of the fire and improve those fire lines. We have 4 helicopters. They're conducting bucketing operations, reconnaissance on the fire for us right now. And we also have the military that is here assisting with firefighting operations on the line with those firefighters. Some of the work that those resources are performing right now, this is a wildland firefight. We are doing wildland perimeter mop-up, fire extinguishment along the fire control lines on the south side of the fire, on the north side of the fire, on the west side of the fire, and on the east side of the fire. We have 43 kilometers of fire line for these firefighters to secure, and right now we have this fire sitting at 62% contained. I expect that to grow at the end of the operational period today and through every day from here on out. We do have challenging weather ahead of us for sure. Some of the weather that we're seeing building into tomorrow with this high pressure ridge system over Alberta, temperatures up to 28 degrees Celsius, low humidity levels of 17 to 15%, winds 20 to 25 from the southeast, gusting up to 40 and 45 into Sunday. Those are very challenging weather conditions. It's definitely going to put our firefighters and our control lines to the test. I have faith that we have the appropriate resources in place to make sure that we come through the weekend with a positive outcome. However, there is challenges definitely ahead for firefighters working on this fire. The fire is listed as out of control right now. Some of the clarity on what that means is this fire is still out of control because we currently do not have firefighters that have extinguished perimeter all the way around that 43 kilometers. When we get there, we'll be working towards what is called a being held status. What being held means is that with the current resources and the current forecasted weather, at that point, we would not expect the fire to grow beyond its current perimeters in an area that we cannot control it. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to step back and pass it back over to Major Yee if he wants to add anything here today. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Major Tyler Yee. I am Officer Commanding 1-1 Field Squadron out of 1 Combat Engineer Regiment out of Edmonton. We are here to support Alberta Wildfire Services in response to the request for assistance that the province of Alberta issued on Wednesday, and we deployed out here that same day and began firefighting activities on Thursday. I don't really have anything to add specific to the fire. We defer to the firefighters themselves and their expertise on how to fight the fire and how to support them best, which is what we're doing with our troops that are on the line right now.
So we don't have a lot of time for questions, so if you have a couple, we can answer them quickly because we have to get back to the incident command post. So if you have any
question for Evan, can you explain a little bit about, so you're 62% done, is it a matter of just taking out fuel? Is it a matter of dousing with water or retardant? Is it controlled burns? What is this fire guard built of? What is it specifically?
Thank you for the question. So when we talk about perimeter of the fire, there is large portions of this fire where we need heavy equipment guard to work safely from with firefighters and also help decrease that fuel along the side. So a lot of that perimeter control would mean that we have heavy equipment guard in place or a natural barrier that firefighting operations can take place from and extinguish hotspots and perimeter into the forest or into those fields from that guard to a reasonable distance that we are confident that any unburnt fuels, if they do burn, would not spot across that perimeter and cause the fire to.
So is the actual perimeter burnt up forest is already so burnt there's no more fuel left, and it's unlikely the fire will cross it, or is it something else?
So this fire did move very quickly when it took its run last week. It was a fine fuel driven fire, which means that we were in our spring dip. Most of the grass was cured 100%. We were long before we had green up on the aspen trees that you're seeing here now. When that fire ran, it ran with such intensity that it had quite a mosaic pattern. So there's quite a bit of areas inside the fire and along the perimeter that have unburned fuels. And that's those priority areas where we have risks. We're replacing firefighting equipment right now so we can focus our efforts on areas that we can prevent the fire from spawning across those fires.
I have a question for Major Yee. If you could just tell us, once the members got on the ground, your assessment of the situation and how you see their roles and responsibilities rolling out over the next few days.
Right. So the way that our firefighting crews are linked in with the firefighters themselves, we're pairing up an experienced firefighter with one of our troop commanders. They speak to each other, and the firefighter that has the real wildland firefighting experience issues advice to the troop commander on where to send the troops and what tasks to do, and then we execute from there.
And sorry, quick follow up for perhaps Tom or Evan. Tell us a little bit about what this help means in the firefight. How much help is having the armed forces on the ground?
For sure. I know that everybody here today and everybody that's watching knows that Alberta as a whole is under some unprecedented fire conditions right now. We're not the only concern in the province. It is challenging times for the entire province where resources are strapped when it comes to firefighting, whether that's wildland firefighters, municipal firefighters, heavy equipment, the list goes on. The help the military is providing is critical to the firefight here as much as they are in other places that they're deploying within Alberta as well. Physical boots on the ground is what we need right now in this firefight. We need firefighters and people that are trained to work safely in the forest to go and extinguish fire perimeter. And that having the extra 50 boots on the ground right now from the 1st Combat Engineer Regiment out of Edmonton is providing amazing help on speeding up that containment of this fire.
Just a follow-up question for you. I know on Facebook they had said the best guess for residents when they could return is at least a week. That's still the most up-to-date guess?
At this time, yes. And this weekend is going to be a huge test for us, of course, with the weather. As Evan has mentioned, we're expecting to know more by Monday. At this time, we're expecting at least another 7 days or so. But again, if we can expedite that timeline, we certainly will. And that's the benefit of doing this planning in tandem with what's ongoing with the fire itself. So we're working on that. But right now, it's going to be dependent on this weekend. And unfortunately, I just can't make that call this time.
What's your message to folks who are still in Drayton Valley, despite the fact that
I know it's important that people look after their livelihoods, and of course I respect that. And you know we do mandatory evacuation orders for the safety of residents. Unfortunately, we can't go door to door and make sure people are leaving, and we are working with people who do have reasons to be in there, and there are a lot of ones in terms of livelihood. We continue to reiterate to individuals in the area, if you need to access the town to take care of your livestock or other to access prescription goods, things like that you actually need. Our call center is working with those residents to actually bring them back into the town, and we're doing it on a permit basis and trying to do what we can. We understand that there's a lot of complexities with this disaster, and it's difficult being away from home. And we certainly want to support the livelihoods of people in this area. It's critical.
What about the people who, are saying that they want to get in there, the security of the issue, where people are like, there is nothing happening, and they're calling all these conspiracies, and is the military possibly going to be used, not from a firefighter standpoint, but even for a security issue or anything? Would you address people who are saying that? Why are they not letting us in?
Absolutely, and I can reiterate the messaging we've had throughout. The military is here as combat engineers. They're helping with the firefight. If they were used for anything security related, it would be at the discretion of the federal government. As municipalities, we actually don't have access to even request the military. This is something that came from the province, and the orders that they are tasked with come from the delegation between the province and the federal government.
A week ago today, we saw the fire come within 2 kilometers of the south side of Drayton Valley. Can someone update us on where the closest fire is to Drayton Valley right now, and what would you classify as the risk of a direct hit from wildfire to Drayton Valley right now?
I will let my operations section chief Evan take that one.
For sure. So speaking to that point specifically, the fire perimeter is actually immediately adjacent to Highway 22 in the south side of Drayton Valley. The fire did make it to the town of Drayton Valley. Crews, as the fire was making it into the south side of town, had a very difficult firefight and did an amazing job at controlling any spot fires across Highway 22. So the perimeter of the fire remains Highway 22 that's in southern Drayton Valley. When we speak about risk of fire spread, that is why we have fire crews operating in those key areas so that we can prevent that from happening. There is definitely challenging pieces of that fire line, and this weekend is going to test those pieces of line.
So there's active fire still on the edge of town.
Yes, that's correct.
You said that it jumped. Sir, you said it jumped in. How many structures? Can you say
Have we
how many
lost any
structures were
buildings?
lost?
There are structures lost on this fire, none in the town of Drayton Valley north of Highway 22.
But we can say in Drayton Valley, yes, there was some structure damage.
There's
Some
no
structures lost.
There's no structures lost in the town of Drayton Valley north of Highway 22. So the structures that are lost are within the burn area that are publicly accessible maps, south of the town of Drayton Valley, southeast of the town of Drayton Valley, predominantly rural properties. For exact numbers right now, I'm not prepared to speak to that. The planning team is working on rapid damage assessments to some of the homes in that area that were affected.
Can you give us an estimate though?
What's going through your mind with this fire? What do you remember? What routines are going through?
For sure, that's a great point. So I understand that everybody has access to a lot of the same technology we do. They're watching things like Modus and Beers right now, and they're not seeing a lot of fire activity on these apps. I can tell you that there is active fire up there. We have firefighters that are working hard every day, helicopters bucketing hot spots. We have fuel inside that fire that is torching off. Just because it's not being picked up by those satellite imagery doesn't mean it's not happening. There is a credible risk to the rural population, the rural structures, I should say. There's a credible risk to the town of Drayton Valley, and we are doing everything we can to get that 62% contained up to 100 so that we can reduce that risk or eliminate it at some point in the future.
I just want to go back to the structures lost because the last we heard it was at least 4 houses. I know you're saying you can't give us the exact number, but people are wondering, like, what is the
For sure.
situation like? So what's the best estimate that you can give us of how many structures have been
But
lost?
right now, I can tell you there's between 4 and 6
Those would be residential or industrial?
residential.
And have the owners of these houses been told?
The incident management team has contacted through the municipalities the affected residents.
What about the landscape is making this firefight so tough?
For sure, there is some very challenging terrain in the North Saskatchewan River Valley that is slowing down firefighting operations for sure, and that's also some of our challenging areas with the types of fuels. Firefighters are making good progress on those pieces of the fire line, and I expect them to continue to make good progress through the years.
Obviously, any homes lost is terrible, but we've all seen in Alberta what happens when a fire reaches a town. And the fact that it's only 4 to 6, even though the fire was right on the edge of town, does that speak to the work that was done to save the rest of the town?
Exactly. I personally was not here when the crews were in the thick of that firefight, but from looking at the fire behavior out there now, looking at what could have happened, I can't speak highly enough of everybody that was involved in the firefight in those early hours of this fire as it came in across the North Saskatchewan River and even on the other side, on the east side of the North Saskatchewan River. It's amazing the amount of work that's been done from day one on this fire for all the fire crews who've been working, and I can't speak highly enough of the professionalism and the intensity of what those crews are working up there to try and get everybody home.
Chief Thompson, the fires, do we have any idea yet if there's arson suspected, or do we know the point of origin for these fires yet?
Currently, right now, that has not been determined. We have focused all of our energy and efforts on fighting the fire. That will come in the weeks ahead once we get the fire under control. Currently, right now, I can't comment on.
At this stage, there's no charges and nobody's being investigated? Okay, thank you.
Is there any concern about any extra security or like safety with people who have like the looting? I know that a couple people were charged. Any sort of updates on that?
I just want to put this out. The RCMP that have come have done an amazing job, and they've come from all over the province. And I tour the town at night for my own peace of mind. And you can't drive within a block without seeing an RCMP officer or vehicle driving around. They have it well at hand. They are managing it very, very well. And I just want to commend them for their efforts and their service because they have really helped us immensely in this evacuation and in this incident.
Just a quick follow-up for Evan. I know that you said the fire made it to the town of Drayton Valley. With the winds that we're expecting to see this weekend, with the temperatures, I mean, how likely is it to cross actually into the town?
just reiterating what I said previously, there is active fire along the southern portion of the town of Drayton Valley. The types of fuels and the types of conditions, the things that we have going for us is the green up that's been happening over the last few days. A lot of the grass fuels that were burning very vigorously a week ago are not going to burn as intense. However, with a few drying days ahead and those winds, they are still going to be challenging. It's still going to be challenging. I don't have a value for you to establish on the likelihood of the fire entering the town of Drayton Valley, but what I can say is we have adequate resources on hand that if we are tested on that piece of line, I'm confident that we can manage it.
Given the heat coming this weekend, are there any special accommodations being made for the frontline firefighters, given the extra heat that's coming?
That's a great question. Safety of our first responders. Obviously, there's inherent risk with firefighting. Everybody understands that firefighting is a dangerous profession as it stands. Some of the increased risks that our firefighters are going through and our equipment operators are going through over the next few days is the heat. It's going to be critical for them to do what they're always really good at, taking care of each other, drinking lots of water, and taking adequate breaks when they can. There is a lot of hard work in the heat, though. One of the other bigger risks right now that we're seeing on the fire is because of the high drought codes in the soils and the root burn from the fire is that there's a very large risk with falling timber right now in the bush. And as the winds increase on Saturday, that danger is going to be exponentially higher for them. So firefighting is a dangerous profession. These crews are out there putting their livelihoods at risk as well, trying to work as hard as they can to get everybody back at home. But their safety is paramount in our minds as well too. We need to make sure that we're operating safely on the fire lines and effectively at the same time.
Thank you.
How many military members are in Brazeau County, Drayton Valley?
So my squadron has 75 persons on the ground right now. That's total with logistics support people that are in there. When you count just working bodies on the fire line, we're looking at about 50 personnel. And that's as of right now. With the province's priorities, the military contribution to the firefighting efforts moves around depending on what the province is.
And is this some of the worst fire conditions? Like how many people have been called out to other fires in the province? Is this one of the worst that you've seen? Are you hearing back from any of your members?
Right. So in total, across Alberta right now, the military has called up 300 personnel approximately to support firefighting efforts. We're grouped into 3 companies that can move around independently. As it stands right now, there's a company that's deployed up in Grand Prairie, and there's us that's here. This weekend, there's another company that's coming online with me up in Army Reservice. They'll be ready, and they're actually arriving here starting tomorrow.
How long do you expect your members to stay on the ground here? Is it a possibility that they could get, moved to Grand Prairie or the other communities in the province?
So from our end, it's extremely important to continue supporting the wildfire, the firefighting efforts continuously. So there is a plan for us to my squadron to move out, but we're not going to do that before the reservist company is firmly established in place and has begun firefighting operations. So we're forecasting that that's going to happen on Monday, but it's going to be based on being able to actually transition our responsibilities over to the reservists so that there's no gap in our support.
Do you know if there's other squadrons deployed around Alberta, and if so, how many?
I'm sorry, say again?
How many squadrons are deployed around Alberta other than yours? Do you know how many?
Right now, there's Alpha Company with 3 people coming on in Grand Prairie. And there's
So 3 squadrons right now? Thank you.
So what kind of training do soldiers have? Like, are they trained as wildfire firefighters? Are they trained as structural urban firefighters? Are they sort of generalists? What kind of firefighting training?
So we have basic firefighter training that our troops have done, classified under S100. So what that is fundamentals of fire suppression and safety. That's pretty good. My unit specifically, because we're combat engineers, we bring a little bit extra to the fight. We have the ability to do some chainsaw work, which is one thing that we have.
This is for the fire chief. I know there was a call out for some individuals who have fire experience. Can you say how many? Have you recruited any?
The numbers at this point in time, we have received a lot of people coming to sign up to volunteer. And I'll just leave that to Evan. He can explain that a little bit clearer.
Sorry, just like you repeat the question.
Oh, it was just, I know there was a call out for people, the public who have firefighting experience. Have you had any people step up to be able to assist?
For sure, I understand that there's been quite a bit of discussion about, volunteers and spontaneous volunteers to fires kind of all across the province. The call out that I think you're referring to was not from the incident management team here.
Oh.
There is, however, a provincial line set up for anyone in Alberta who wishes to volunteer and assist, whether that's businesses with equipment or people with firefighting training. That email address is emergencysupportoffers@gov.ab.ca. So I do encourage anybody who wishes to assist in the firefighting efforts across the province to reach out to that email address with what they're offering to assist with.
For the chiefs, I'm hearing from some people who don't have firefighting training. They want to help and they're feeling frustrated that they can't do anything. What can people do and what can you say about that frustration?
I understand people's frustration. We have a lot of expert people that are on the ground fighting this fire, and I would encourage them to still put their name on lists because there are lots of different tasks that need to be done. And as this fight goes on, the next little while, we will be calling on people to assist us with different activities. Obviously, people's safety is our primary concern, and we want to make sure that anybody that comes to the scene or is deployed to the scene is well trained and has experience in these types of incidents. So I do still encourage anybody that is wanting to volunteer to please put their name on the list. It's not that we are pushing people away. It's just that we are at a particular stage in this fire that we are relying on ground crews who are specifically trained. As Evan alluded to, the hazards on this fire are extremely dangerous with the wind conditions, with the burnout that's taken place. We are worried about falling trees as well as other hazards. So it's imperative that the people that we deploy understand those risks and understand the knowledge and the skills that are necessary to be able to work in that type of atmosphere. I truly appreciate all the people that have reached out to myself as well as to the incident command team. It's not that we are pushing you away or ignoring you, but at this point in the game, we really need to rely on our experts to guide us through this stage of the fire.
Right now, is the hospital open? Are they servicing anybody or prepared to service firefighters or anything if need be?
Not at this time. Our hospital remains closed. As you can understand, a lot of our emergency medical people have been evacuated out of the area. We do, however, have Alberta Health Services actively working on getting our hospital back up and running, as that is one of the critical pieces of infrastructure that we are going to need to bring people back to the community. So those people are coming. They are in place. They are doing those assessments now. Again, as we've already alluded to, we also have a significant number of utility companies that are actively engaged in that process. So I just want to let our community know that even though the fire is still going on and we're still dealing with that part of it, we are actively trying to get the community ready for people to return. So that part is actively being done right now.
Are there any other volunteers that you need or any other personnel that you might need or supplies at this point?
As I mentioned, if people can put in their name and the skill set that they have, we can assess as we need. At this point in time, I can't comment on that.
Tom, how do you feel that we got to this point in the province where really everyday Albertans are being asked to help out in this firefight?
I can't comment on the whole province and what's happening with the province. Everybody knows that we are in a very hot, dry condition throughout the province, so we are being affected by the weather. But I can comment on our area that we are doing everything we possibly can to get this fire under control, and we've brought in our experts, as I've mentioned, and hopefully we can bring this to a resolution in the very near future.
Yeah.
Can you give everyone's first and last name for the record on?
Sure.
Sure. Tom Thompson. Last name spelled Thomson, and I am the fire chief for Drayton Valley, Brazeau County Fire Services.
Luke Palmer, Luketalmer, current incident commander of Buck Creek Wildfire.
Evan Stewart, EvanStewart.
Tyler Yee, TYLER, last name Y.
Thank you. Looks much better in video.
You're major, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was YEE,
Just one E.
1E.
No one speaks French?
Parlez-vous français, non?
I'm
Enough for our clip or not?
Probably not. I can understand you and maybe answer a few, but only a little bit.
Non, on essaye-tu? Est-ce qu'on peut essayer devant le podium?
No, not good enough for that.
Thank you very much.
Well, there we go, folks. There was a press conference. We got a few questions in there. I wasn't able to check out your chats, so let's quickly do that and see if we got all the answers we could. I don't have access to your phone. Yeah. So what do you, there we go. I'll be my cameraman for a second. So what do you guys think? We got some good information. 4 to 6 buildings have been lost, residential. They did not mention any industrial or large commercial. So that's good news. So the rumors about the Radisson and the Tim Hortons in that corner being burnt doesn't appear to be corroborated at this time. But we do have some residential buildings that have been lost, but 4 to 6. If you're around for the Fort McMurray fire, you know that that's a good day. So hopefully that's where it stays, and then we can get some more information soon. I'll pass you over to the camera. You good?
Just gonna have a delay now.
Yep. So, Oli, so there's some good chats in here. Bravo Zulu to these folks. They said they will take a couple questions and they're doing the best answer them all. Absolutely, they did a great job on answering all the questions, and thankful that we were able to get a few in there. Prairie, you're pretty active. Oh, Railroaded, welcome. Good stuff, Railroad. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Good to see you back. And there's a lot of questions here. So what we plan to do now, if you guys want to stick around, we're going to drive over to one of the checkpoints and try and interview anybody who's there that can speak to us. But before we leave there, I might see if there's anybody around here that would be willing to speak to us. I see the chief over there, and we'll see what we can do. Let's see what this guy. Bonjour. So you came for the French language one?
Yeah, Jérémy.
Levine, I'm sorry. I don't speak enough
Oh,
English. Are you with CBC or?
French.
So you come all the way from Quebec? Or
From Winnipeg.
You came here today?
For the weekend, yeah, I arrived last night.
And what do you think so far, Drayton Valley? Not bilingual. Not bilingual.
But I'm live in 30 minutes.
You take care. Bonjour. Au revoir. There we go. We talked to some of the local media. So I think, as I'm looking around here, we might grab the chief, but I don't know. I'm just going to keep an eye on there because he is talking to another reporter, but without a camera. And I don't think he'll answer any more questions. So how about we go ahead and go to a checkpoint and see what's going on? We don't have any fire. They talked about the fire is still right on the perimeter of 22. What we'll do is we're going to go to 22, which is just around the corner here, and see what we can get going. So come for the ride. We're not going to stop the stream. We're going to do our best to stay legal and make sure everybody stays safe. But I see some people over there. So what I'm going to do is we'll go talk to them and see what kind of people have been coming up, who's trying to get in, what should they do if they want to come in, and try and get some of that information going. All right, welcome to the booth, everybody. The electric car. Get the window open if you want to hang out there. So yeah, I'm not sure if you see this on CBC, folks, but here we are. We're on the road. And slide this down. I'll leave the windows open so we don't burn up. All right, folks, let's go see if we can talk to some more people. Well, I hope you all like that. That's Brazeau County. That's our fire chief, Tom Thompson. We met Evan, one of the coordinators. And we're going to see if any of these people can talk to us. Red Deer peace officer. So we have peace officers from all over the province here. All right. All right, let's go see if anybody wants to talk to us. Hey, Jason Levine, Independent Media. Can I speak to anybody about anything? I'd like to kind of speak about what they're doing, should they be doing, how can they come in, what they should be calling, what the proper procedure is. Because it's kind of confusing to some people. Is anybody allowed to?
No, none of us.
Have you had lots of people coming to try and get in and you have to turn them around? Probably. So should they call or is there someplace for them to call?
I'm not sure. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just curious about what the proper procedure is for residents to go ahead and get escorted in. We've been wondering, should they drive up and ask or should they call ahead?
Honestly, I've been doing the roaming around, but yeah, I would like everyone that's coming in to come back home, like they need to be registered, right? Like the town's still not open.
Correct.
So I would definitely be waiting for that announcement by the town saying, hey, we're opening back up, you guys can start.
We would advise everyone, call that number, don't come here first.
Yeah.
You're just gonna get turned around.
Exactly.
No matter how important it may seem.
Exactly, yeah.
And what kind of things can get you in? Is it medication?
I think like pet rescue.
Pet rescue?
Yeah.
In and out.
And we have a great team that is helping. They can register their pets and get them fed and make sure that they're taken care of. But,
Oh, so there's a team of people in town taking care of pets in town?
yes.
Can you expand on that a little bit? I don't think anybody really knows that.
Somebody did do an interview earlier today about that with one of the media.
Wonderful. Is that CBC?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So you can register your pet and then someone will just take your every pet.
And to be honest with you, I just got here. I don't know how or where they go to register their pets. Pumping to the town. I don't know if it's something.
Well, they can
Or,
send that emergency
On
number.
Facebook, I think.
On Facebook,
Facebook
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, you can.
And then what about business owners, people that own businesses? Are they able to get in as well to do stuff? Just call that number and find out.
Yeah,
That
they
would
have
be the best.
if they are not many, none that I've seen. It's
Yeah.
all contractors starting fire.
Now, we've received a few reports of people trying to storm or drive through the barricade. Does that happen here at all?
The first couple days there was a
Cold out
couple
right now.
angry residents, but
Well, they also like southern Alberta.
they were kind of told and
Got some sense talking to
escorted
them
back
and-
out. Yeah,
No charges have been laid that you know
not
of
that
so
I
far.
know.
People have been upset, but they've been accommodated.
That's right. Yeah.
Actually, just transferring out of there.
And there are still residents in there, so they happen to die.
That's right. Yeah.
So if they leave, are they able to get back in? Or if they leave, they have to go out.
Has it slowed down at all?
Goodbye and good luck for now. You know.
For example, we got a lock and key guy, so he's a vital person to make sure things stay secure.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what his job is, but he's been coming back. I'm sure he's got some job that's benefiting the town as far as like
Loud enough?
maybe putting better locks on it.
Now, I see you guys are from Red Deer. How many came up from Red Deer that just up here today?
There's three of us.
Three of you?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, everybody, as you can see, well, here's somebody that might be trying to get in, so we'll see how this goes. Turned around or not.
Hi, guys.
Okay, so it sounds like somebody that didn't register trying to come through. They're explaining what they're doing there. So as you can see, there are some people. And what we might try and do is get an interview with one of these people if they get turned around. Well, it looks like they're getting themselves an escort, so they might be able to get through. Well, having a camera nearby might make sure everybody stays calm and relaxed. Okay. Looks like these people will get an escort. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll let them get to it now. So, well, thank you very much for joining me. This was last minute. I appreciate the fact that Ray took a day off to be the cameraman to make sure that you guys got some good video and audio. And we're going to be leaving the high-speed internet. Actually, sir, do you have a second? Are you a resident? Would you like to be part of a media broadcast? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Well, we tried to get one more interview for you all, but that will be it. So I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us. We're going to head back. If anything happens, we'll record it and we'll put another video out later. But this will be the end of the live broadcast because we're going to be outside of the internet range. As soon as we hit that highway, about 5 kilometers, we're going to lose it. So I'm going to thank you all very much for coming. Make sure that you guys stay safe. If you're in the Alberta area, you go ahead and do what you can to stay safe. If you're in the Drayton Valley, Brazeau County area, don't go west. It looks like it might be tough. We have somebody pulling up. Maybe we'll see if we can get an interview from them. I don't know who they are. But anyways, assuming we can't, we're going to say goodbye. So make sure you guys stay safe. God bless. And we'll see you on Monday. Let's see,